We're going to talk now to Lavel White. He is a photographer who's been going to the protests in Louisville since last week. And actually on the first day, he was hit by rubber bullets and gas canisters. Lavel, thank you very much for talking to us. Tell us about your particular experience.
All right, thank y'all for having me on BBC World News. I went to the protest down in Louisville, Kentucky at the Jefferson Square Park in Louisville, Kentucky on Thursday evening. It was relatively peaceful up until nightfall. And then when things got crowded and things escalated in the crowd, people was there gathering, peaceful protest, showing their solidarity for Breonna Taylor and Judge George Floyd in the U.S. and we was downtown in Louisville, and then things went crazy when the protesters seen the police, Louisville Metro Police Department, and the state troopers, and they was being aggressive, and then they shot canisters off and stuff. Then they was pushing the paddy wagon, about to make it turn over, and then the crowd got riled up, and then there was 7 gunshots that had fired into the crowd down at Jefferson Square in front of the mayor's office of Louisville, and it was very a tragic event and scary event to be a part of the protest and then see violence ring out in a peaceful protest. There was this gathering, and people was there for the experience and trying to stand up for justice for Breonna Taylor and George Floyd in America.
Can you tell our audience, for those who want to learn what happened to David McAtee, what were the circumstances of his death?
On Sunday evening, around 12:15 a.m. in Louisville, Kentucky, on 26th and Broadway, outside of the Dino's Food Mart, shots rang out into the crowd. They said there were shots fired at the Louisville Metro, the police department, and the Kentucky National Guard. And then they returned fire and killing David McAtee as he was shielding and protecting his niece into the crowd. So it was very tragic that they was gathering on 26th and Broadway. They always gather and hang out at the gas station and stuff in the evenings. I don't think that was involved in the protest, but the West End had a lot of protests that evening. People had migrated and moved all over the city on Sunday morning into the late hours of the night. He was an innocent bystander, and then this led gaslight the issue of police brutality in America.
Yeah. I just want to read you a couple of messages, if I may, Lavel. This is from our audience, a couple of emails from people around the world. And this is focusing on the protesters. And Denise says, for example, on email, the protesters have gone too far now. It is not okay to instigate mob rule, to loot, to vandalise, or commit attempted murder. It is not okay to make racist comments about white people either. President Trump is within his rights to use force, says Denise. What do you say to that?
I think that people's acting out their frustration. America is built on a racist system and systemic oppression on black people in America. And so people's voicing their concerns and stuff, people's tired. People have been pushed over to the edge. Every day you hear about an officer-involved shooting, police brutality. You see racial profiling and the lynching of Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. You see these things and hear these things. George Floyd was stood on the neck by a white police officer. They sparked this war that's going on in America. People are tired and fed up with racism affecting black people in America. And then people's gonna, when people reach a breaking point, they're gonna get violent, they're gonna get rowdy, they wanna make their voices heard. We have been oppressed for so long here in America, and that the systems is trying to destroy black people and target us as call us thugs. And when President Trump says shoot the looters, he's just gaslighting the issue.
Mr. Floyd's brother said he didn't want violence in his brother's name, and he urged people simply to vote in the presidential election in November. Is that the right way to get your voice heard?
Yes, voting is getting involved in the political process, helps things out. Being in the streets, demonstrating peacefully get you the word and message out. And people need to take ownership in the community. We need to train the police officers how to deal with blacks in America, have social bias trainings. We need the system. The national politics affects race in America, community issues affect race in America, community policing, and we can't have mistrust with the law enforcement that's policing our black and brown communities in America.
I've got another email here. It's from Nick. And these are emails from a minority of viewers, and I think actually this is a message to me, to be honest. You do realise that the vast majority of black Americans killed are killed by other black Americans. You do realise black Americans also kill white people. Listening to you this morning, you'd think that only white people kill black people. The level of liberal bias in your reporting is reprehensible. That's from Nick McKeown. That view is out there. What do you think of that?
Black and brown people do kill each other in situations. Violence is impacted upon in the community, but that's all because of a root cause issue in America: the inequities, poverty, financial means. People act out of aggression and frustration. They grow up in communities and live in households where parents is not there. They're not dealing with the traumas that they see in America. We're seeing real trauma right now in America, and through the police brutality, our black and brown sisters killing each other in the streets. There's a lot of issues that's compounded together, and America is on the breaking point. You are seeing civil unrest all across the country. In Louisville, Kentucky, this thing has been going on over 50 years. We've been seeing police brutality acted upon the black and brown community of Louisville.
So who is the person, and maybe there isn't somebody, who is the person who can unify your country, bring people together after this?
You would expect President Donald Trump to lead and not gaslight situations, call people thugs, shoot them on spot when they're looting and stuff. That's bad leadership. The people have to rise up peacefully and march and talk and go to at the state capitol, to the U.S. Capitol, go to your local communities, rise up and tell them how we're feeling in America. There's not one player. We all have the power to change our environments, our communities around the world. So we just got to rise up and voice our opinions and the concerns. And then I would really want President Donald Trump to speak out and to heal the world right now, because he's not doing that. He has he's like the devil. He gaslights and feeds into white supremacy, and that has to stop.
Okay. Obviously, there are plenty who would disagree with those views, but thank you for making them on BBC World News. And here in the UK, Lavel White, who is a photographer who was at the protests in Louisville, has been since last Thursday.